Hey everybody, welcome back to the Hobby Lodge. We've got the Hit Squad t-shirt on, so it must be time for another Hit Squad full set collection on the Commodore 64 update. Crikey, that's a hell of a sort of strap line there, hell of a title. But yes, we've got 5 more to go through. So I think last week I took you to 52. We're now up to 57. Of course, these videos are lagging behind where I am, so we've got loads more to talk about in the future as we head towards that full set. But it's going to slow down as we get there because some of these tapes, are becoming very, very difficult to find. But yeah, we've got some to talk about today, so let's talk about them and yeah, get through. So the first one I'm going to talk about is a game called Slap Fight. There we go. Look, it looks awesome. Look at that cover art. It's fantastic. It is number 12 in the arcade collection, and it's a great game. Like, it's always nice to sort of go back to some of these games and pick them up and just see how well they still play. And Slap Fight is definitely one of those ones I would say it has aged well and continues to play as a great game. It's a vertical scrolling shooter with the classics. You know, you're taking out the enemies. You can hold down the fire button for rapid fire, which is always nice because some games you do have to spam the fire button, which, you know, after 5-10 minutes of doing that, especially as you're getting older, the old thumb starts to wear a bit thin. Yeah, it's great that you can do that. And it has a power-up system in it as well, akin to some of the games where instead of picking up a direct power-up, you know, picking up multi-shot or picking up extra life or something like that, you pick up credits and then you use those credits to buy the upgrades you need. So in this case, stars. As you kill enemies, you pick up those stars and then you can choose the power up you want. So in the beginning it's speed, so I would definitely recommend picking up speed, and I think you can upgrade it 5 times, and it's well worth getting a few upgrades on that because you do move quite slowly in the beginning of the game, and you can get to the point where you can pretty much outmaneuver the bullets and the enemies quite nicely by picking up speed, and then get all the firepower, power-ups and all the rest of it. But yeah, Slap Fight is definitely a game I would recommend picking up and taking a look at. Plays brilliantly. As always, music is fantastic. The graphics look great. And yeah, that's just a lovely thing to look at. Look, Slap Fight. Lovely, lovely. Okay, next up, we're going to go on to one that doesn't quite make it for me. And that is hard driving on the Commodore 64. I always keep saying Commodore 64. You know this whole video is about the Commodore 64, but you know, it's just nice to say. This is the arcade. This is number 41 in the arcade. For me, it's super ambitious in what it's trying to achieve, but it doesn't quite achieve it. It's going for that full 3D visuals, and you know, whilst it sounds good and it looks good for its day, you know, when you think about what they were trying to achieve on the Commodore 64 with these graphics, it doesn't land it for me. It's really difficult to control the car. It's difficult to know whereabouts on the road you are in comparison to your sort of oncoming traffic and things like that. And it just doesn't land. It just doesn't work for me. So you know, it's called hard driving, so you know, at least it lives up to its name. It is very hard to drive in this game, yeah, not one that I think has aged well, and not one that I would personally go back to. But I'd love to know other people's experience of whether they think this is you know, one for them or not. Right, so the next one is number 48 in the arcade, and beans we just looked at Slap Fight and the amazing artwork on that. Check this out. This is Escape from the Robot Monsters, or to give it its full name, Escape from the Planet of the Robot Monsters, and it just looks amazing. I do know that this is one of my friend's favorite piece of artwork from the Hit Squads, but yeah, it does look fantastic, right? And it's also a great game. So isn't it fantastic when you find sometimes the artwork can be a bit misleading, right? Sometimes tapes or games, you see the artwork and go, oh, that's going to be amazing, and then you play the game and maybe it's not quite there. But this is not only got great artwork and great music, the game is also really awesome as well. It's a great sort of drop in and play arcade game. You're going for that high score, you're rescuing damsels in distress, and you're shooting monsters left, right and centre, and they are coming at you thick and fast all of the time. You're trying to get through the levels. It's isometric and plays really well for an isometric game. Sometimes they don't quite get the controls right in that, but in this one it works. And I was even caught out by the fact that there's boss battles in there as well. I think the boss was really cool on the screen, fighting against him. But yeah, all the things are there. Everything's there that makes a great great game. It's fast paced, it's drop-in, it has an objective, you're getting high scores, you're progressing, it has boss battles, it has great music, great sound, the graphics look fantastic, the controls are good. So yeah, there's nothing to complain about. This game is a really good one, and I'm really happy to add it to the collection, and it is a fantastic piece of artwork. Now, unfortunately, the next one is one of those games that, again, huge ambition. I mean, to think they were going to try and pull this off on the Commodore 64. I mean, I love the system, but even I know that this was going to be a tough ask. And that is a Driller. And Driller is number 23 in the arcade. Now, this game is, again, a bit like hard driving. It's going for that full 3D environment. But it just suffers from the fact that the grunt's not there. The system can't handle what it's trying to pump out. There are so many controls. You are basically driving a what feels like a hover tank of some description, and you can not only move your vehicle left, right, up, down, and all the rest of it, but you can also move your turret. So it takes a lot of controls to get this thing to move. And it is, you know, you're talking a few frames per second if you're lucky when you're moving about. So I didn't get very far in the game. I found it really difficult. But again, I have to appreciate that what they were trying to achieve with this system, and you know, it could have been amazing. I'm sure it would have been if the machine just had a bit more grunt to it. But yeah, unfortunately, Driller has not aged well, and it's probably not one I will revisit. But again, I'd love to get your thoughts on whether this is a game you actually managed to get to play and actually got somewhere with, because much like hard driving, I didn't achieve much. Right. So as I said in the in the thumbnail, you know, there was, well, so we always try and do a big hitter for one of these videos. Like, I like to show you some, and some of these are, you know, big hitters, sort of middle tier, but this is definitely at the top end. So this is Darkman on the Hit Squads. I need to get new cases. That is one thing I'm going to be doing, is putting everything into new cases, so they're super shiny. This one's not too bad, but you get some scratches on it. I am showing it in a sort of high definition camera with lights on it, so you're going to see little things. Yeah, Darkman on the C64, number 28 in the movies collection. It is one of the harder ones to find, but like buses, you wait forever and two show up. So when I was on the hunt for this, I couldn't find any, and then within a week, I think two appeared. The first one I was involved in, but the bidding started to go a bit crazy, so I chose to come out of that, and this is the one I got for a price that I was happy to pay. And I guess that's my tip to anyone doing this. I'm new to this, right, and I'm listening to all the advice that's out there. I'm new to Hit Squad collecting anyway, and get some idea of what the prices are. Look at sold listings, look at some Facebook groups and such, and talk to people that have been there and maybe done this, and you'll get an idea of pricing. And then try and stay within that. You know, try and think about what you'd be willing to pay, and know when it's good to drop out. You know, if there's a bidding war going on, you know what, let them go. The next one will come along. So I paid a lot less for this one than the person who beat me in the bidding of the previous one. So yeah, I'm fine with that. So yeah, it was not a cheap one, but I'm really glad to have it. And as far as the game's concerned, it's a good game, right? It's hard as hell. It absolutely is a hard game, and you've got to learn patterns. You've got to have quick reactions to get through the game. Now, I haven't made it off the first level, but I keep getting closer each time I do it, because I'm getting better. I'm learning. I'm sort of, you know, progressing through the game. But I can't complain about anything in the game, because the game runs and works perfectly fine. Again, good sound, good graphics, controls are nice, but it is just a tough game, and you have to accept the fact that it is a tough game, and you need to get good at it, essentially. So yeah, I'm happy that, again, when you pick up some of these rarer titles, they are, you know, at least decent games when you play them. So yeah, really happy with that. That takes us up to 57 of 122. So we're not quite at the halfway mark yet, but as I said, now I've got, like, look at, if I could show my camera to the left here, you would see, oh, lots and lots of goodness. So they will all be coming soon, and I'll keep doing these updates every week. Look, I hope you're enjoying it. I hope any feedback you have on what you might like to see from this as I go through it. I don't really want to go into pricing, but I don't mind if you want to know sort of ballpark pricing on things. My recommendation to you, if you want to do this, is to join things like Facebook groups and stuff. There are some great ones out there. Hit Squad Collective is one that you should absolutely join, and speak to the people there, because they are the people that collect this, and they have lots of doubles. They have lots of advice on how to do it well. But I will try and talk as much as I can during these videos, so you get an idea of what it's like for me as I'm doing it. But yeah, the end, I'm hoping I can do it. There's definitely going to be one or two that are going to really slow me down, but I'm going to be darn close. So yeah, I'm enjoying it still, and of course it's fantastic to put these games on and play them. So I'm really enjoying it. So thanks very much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, give it a like. The classics, hit the subscribe button, all those stuff if you fancy doing so. And yeah, it's been great seeing you. All right, speak to you soon. Bye bye.